Welcome to a Rockford CCG deck processing profile series. I'm not sure what I'm going to call it yet, but the whole point of the series is to create deck lists of tack packages. Not a full deck, maybe like 15, 20 cards max, of like a theme almost, like a stun or a seal and stun or desperation, something like that. All highs, all lows, stuff that a newer player can watch the video, grab this list, buy these cards, get these cards, whatever, and then add pieces to it as they see fit. It's not going to be tailored towards one character. Towards the end of the video, I will give a list of characters that will work well with this tack package. And then that's all up to you guys if you want to play that said character or that said character. So let's get into a couple rules things. Let's find out what seal is, like what it is defined by in the LGR. In the LGR, it is under K.4 impacting cards. K.4.3 to seal a card is to create the assigned rule effect. That card has no abilities for the rest of this turn. So that means that the card that you seal cannot gain abilities. It cannot play abilities for the rest of this turn. So that's very impactful, pardon the pun, offensively and defensively, because you're able to shut off key pieces of your opponent's game plan. So that, like offensively, you need to seal a defensive piece or something. Maybe you need to draw a card and they have like Venomous down and you need to seal it. That'll help you draw, so they have no effect on it. So let's get into what stun means. Stun is in section I. It's under I.3.11. It means stun grants the ability E. Your opponent commits X foundations. X equals the rating of the stun keyword granting this ability. So that means if you have a stun 2 on your card, your opponent has to commit to up to two or less 2 foundations. But if they have less, they still have to commit the amount up to 2. So so if they have like 1 foundation, you have stun 3, they still commit the 1 no matter what. So let's get into the deck right now. Let's start off with attacks. It's going to be underneath the order symbol. The order symbol has a lot of really good cards from the Sub-Zero starter deck, from the Turbo deck, and it has a couple pieces from Raidens and Edenine, and also a couple pieces from Kolokon and Aaron Black. So we're going to go over the attacks first. The big one is Deep Freeze. You're going to see it on the screen here. Deep Freeze allows you to seal up to 3 of your opponent's foundations and give you +1 to your stun rating. So right now you discard a momentum, you're able to get rid of 3 problem foundations, and then you add 1 to your stun rating. So from stun 2 to stun 3. So in a way you can take care of 6 foundations in a way, but more often than not they're just going to commit the sealed foundations, which is not that big of a deal. So coupled with this, as you're looking at Frosthammer. The Deep Freeze Frosthammer package basically is what this really probably could be called. But you're looking at, this is your kill card for the most part. It gets speed for each of your opponent's sealed foundations. It gets damage for each of your opponent's committed foundations. So that's why it's kind of like a seal stun attack package, because you're going to want to try to stun out your opponent, obviously, and then you're going to be able to get a lot of speed by the sealed stuff. So if you play Deep Freeze first, and then you play Frosthammer, let's see, 3, you're looking at a 6 high for 8? Well, 9, because you get stun 1 on the Frosthammer. So that's pretty good. You can get this into crazy numbers if you have enough cards in your staging area, or you play enough Deep Freezes prior to this to where you're getting just a massive amount of damage. So let's move on to Lightning. Lightning is a really good utility attack. It is a stun 2 attack. It doesn't do a lot of damage, so you're going to have to find outside damage for it. but it has a couple good abilities to where you can you stun your opponent. Then you can add one of those committed foundations to the card pool for a cost of a momentum, or if they're in deadlock, you get to do basically the same. You get basically the same effect again. So it doesn't have to be a committed one. It can be a ready one. Moving on, we got Ice Burst. It's in the Sub-Zero. Sorry, the Lightning was in the Raiden package. The Ice Burst attack from Sub-Zero. Destroy one face-down foundation. Add all copies of Ice Clone from your card pool to your momentum. We're not going to worry about that ability. I wouldn't play Ice Clone. I would really focus in on the Stun 2, and then the other discard a momentum, seal one of your opponent's foundations. That could come in handy if you're leading into a Frost Hammer, or you have you go Deep Freeze, Ice Burst, Frost Hammer, and then you're able to get extra stun and extra seal out of it just to punch through. Another attack that goes really well with this kind of package, because you have a lot of flip effects on your cards in your staging area, would be slide shots. Wait, sorry, my bad. You would use this in conjunction with destruction of the Cyber Linkway, because you're going to be flipping stuff face down to kick your multiples, so you get extra damage. And a couple of the cards that seal or stun out your opponent, they flip, so you're going to be able to get extra value out of your flipped foundations. So we have one asset that really kind of works with the seal theme. It's Frozen Palace from the Indines cards. I personally wouldn't play it. I think assets are kind of slow right now, other than Swordfish 2 from the Cowboy Bebop cards. But if you really want to go ham on the seal package, you can play this. It allows you to basically seal 2 of your opponent's stuff for one of yours, because they also get to seal one of yours at the beginning of each combat phase. Let's see here. Actually, let's start with a Loyal Friend. E-flip, seal one of your opponent's foundations. Basically, you get to turn off a foundation for an E flip, which is great because you're playing Destruction of Cyber Linkway, so you can blow up Loyal Friend after sealing something to get -2 speed, +2 damage. And then if they're all stunned out and you're putting extra speed on stuff, the -2 speed isn't going to be a big deal, especially with slide shots, because usually you're dropping slide shots at the end of a turn, so you're just end of a string, so you're just dumping massive amounts of damage onto your opponent. We also have Radical Edward. E-commit, commit one asset or foundation. So this will go in with, if they have one or more keywords on their asset, which they usually do, or a foundation, which is usually uniques. There are a couple Dr. Wily ones that have ally too. You're able to commit it. So that kind of lends into that committal effect, that stun effect for Frost Hammer, or to help you push through other attacks, because the order symbol in a way doesn't have a lot of speed on it. It has some outside ways to get speed, so you're looking at stun as your primary delivery method of your attacks. We're going to go with Freezing the City next. You play a lot of stun attacks, you're getting +1 damage from it, and then you can seal this foundation to have them seal a face-up ready foundation. So if you're out of Loyal Friends, or you have no momentum for Deep Freeze, this will allow you to at least get something sealed for that extra speed on Frost Hammer. And then this also works in conjunction with Linkway Grandmaster. Once per turn, commit one sealed foundation in your opponent's staging area, so you could seal already, and then you can make them commit that sealed foundation. And it doesn't have to be the one they've sealed with Freezing the City. So you could say you freeze in the city, then you stun them, they commit that, and then you can Loyal Friend. Then you can also use this, or you can use it after a Deep Freeze. Plus, you're able to use, say, flipped foundations or any foundations to commit to give your stun attack +2 damage. So it's just extra value on your flipped foundations. Some other cards that could come in handy with this package, because you want some flipped cards for Destruction of Linkway, or you need something for defense, which usually you want to be able to have cards that have multiple ways to be used. So Feifei is really good. You got -3 speed on an opponent's attack, because you're probably never going to use it on your own, and then you can also destroy it offensively. with Cyberlink to get damage, or you can use it. You can flip this for -3 speed, then destroy it with Destruction of Cyberlink for another -2 speed, so it's -5 speed overall. We got Ageless and Wise. If you're playing Raiden, this card has 2 effects, but if you're playing anybody else but Raiden, you got 1, which there's a lot of foundation destruction or removal with the latest set, especially with Jeddah, and there are some other cards that are able to do it. It can't come like Self-Destruct or a few Lightning for a chance, you know. This will allow them to, you can cancel it. So if you don't want to lose a foundation, plus it has this Nancy 2 block, 2 low block, so this will allow you to keep your foundations, but then you can also destroy it with Destruction of Cyberlink. Extended lifespan. It's flip protection for your foundations, so you don't want to get like your loyal friends or your Fei-Feis flipped by your opponent's effects. It doesn't cancel it, but it allows you to commit something on your opponent's side defensively. So that's really great, because then it can lead into like a backswing turn. Also, if they draw cards during the combat phase, or add cards to their hand, so that's adding cards or drawing cards, you get to draw a card, and it flips for that effect, so you can destroy it for Cyberlink. Calling Upon the Sun. If you play a character with a vitality cost, or if you have any cards in your deck that have like a vitality cost, you can flip this to gain 2. Or if your opponent commits or destroys one or more of your foundations, they commit a foundation, it's playable while committed. It also has a flip, so you can destroy it with Cyberlink. You're going to notice that a lot of this kind of works with Cyberlink because like the order, flip, destruction of Cyberlink, Deep Freeze, Frosthammer, slide shots kind of all work together really well. And then Artifice Avarice. You check it, you draw a card, which is great. Like I said earlier, order lacks fast speed outside on its attacks. I'd say Lightning's a little different because it's a 5 speed, but it's also 2 damage. And then like Frosthammer is a 3, Deep Freeze is a 3. So you're gonna want to find some way to help push your attacks through. So those are just some basic cards. It's 16 cards, just that you can get that engine going. Depending on what numbers you want to play, it's up to you. But some characters that you could technically play with this. You have Sub-Zero. He would work the best with this stuff. He seals. He has an ability that you flip a foundation, then you seal one of your opponent's assets or foundations and commit it. So, and it gives them extra. He has extra damage, and he has card discarding from your opponent's hand. So he's actually probably maybe the best character. My favorite character to run with this package is Colocan, because he can make his first attack a throw, clear it, get that momentum for the Deep Freeze, and then lead into the Frosthammer. Also, him with slide shots is just ridiculous and nuts, because you're able to pay enough, you pay vitality to get the extra damage, and then you just keep chaining stuff together, and it's just insane. A couple other characters that are probably not meta relevant. Garrett's probably going to kill me for saying that, but Garrett Brett 4, he does have a character. He does have a committal effect on his character, and he's able to get card draw and extra damage using his abilities. So he's not too bad. I haven't really played with him in a while since like the new design started, but it would be a good idea to try him out with this kind of type of package. And then Swordman. Swordman likes when you commit things, but you're kind of relegated to a full weapon package, which Deep Freeze, Frosthammer is. So you'd have to find some other, like maybe Dust Crusher or a couple other cards that you'd have to find to really take advantage of that, since he gets to ready when you commit something to your opponent's staging area. Some other cards that you could use in this deck, depending on your character, of course. I was asked to maybe add in a couple cards or a different type of tech attacks or whatever, but Soul Devour, you are able to discard cards from your hand to make sure your opponent does not ready certain cards, and the ability can't be canceled, so that's kind of neat. And if you play all, you're able to draw cards twice per turn if your opponent plays cards after you play this. Thunderbreak, it goes with the stun theme. It is a 6 diff. The last card was a 6 diff too. It depends on how your attack base is. Deep Freeze and Frosthammer are basically going to be your 5 diffs, and you're probably going to want to play 4 of each of those. So if you can fit a 6 diff in, yes, but is it really needed? I don't know. That's going to have to just, some testing is just going to have to be used. Caltrops is pretty good. Depending on how much momentum you think you're going to be getting, Aaron Black and Faye really, really love this card. But I don't think it's really worth it in like a Sub-Zero or a Kolokon unless you're really, really hammering home the momentum gain. So that also leads into the next card, Sand Grenade. If you're able to get the ultra rares, these are mostly ultra rares, obviously. Like if you're able to get your hands on these, it may be worth playing. But again, it's a 5 diff 2 check. You're already running like 8 5 diffs. You kind of don't want to be playing a lot of 5 diffs because then your kill potential is pushed back a bit because you're going to be playing 5 6 7. Unless you're playing Kolokon, because then it's on a 5 5 6 and it's not horrible. But you're really reliant on the stun on your attacks for this card because you get +1 to your powerful rating for each of your opponent's committed foundations. So, and it's a 2 check, which I think you can run the entire deck without playing a 2 check and still be pretty lethal. I got 9th at the Collinsville PTC playing Tim Keefe's variant of Kolokon Order, playing this Deep Freeze Frosthammer Slide Shots package. So, and I didn't run any 3s, and I was pretty lethal on the games that I won. And people were pretty much afraid of the potential of the Deep Freeze Frosthammer combo, which is pretty beastly. Vicinity Blast allows you more damage. It doesn't really fit in, like after you basically commit out your opponent's board, you can drop this, blow up your stationary, and kill them, I guess. Icy Slide, it's really good at the end of a chain. Especially if you play a bunch of stun attacks. So your opponent's stunned out, sealed out, and they can't block it. The only issue is it's a 1 low. So they could potentially really block it pretty easily, which is what I was saying about getting outside speed. Mayfia's Assault's kind of neat. If your character has all, you can net the top card of your discard pile. Or also you have a first E where you discard 2 momentum, you commit all your opponent's face down. So if they're like a spike 1, or if they have a lot of flip effects, you're able to use this card and commit all their stuff out and then go into the stunning and the ceiling and really just hammer home some stuff. Death Valley Faceplant, it's a throw. It has stun. It also, if it does less than printed, you get to gain and commit a foundation in your opponent's staging area. So that's not horrible, but it is a 5 diff. Again, I don't know if it fits into the Deep Freeze Frosthammer package, but I wanted to throw it out there for someone. And then as a really nice spicy 3 diff, which this really combos very well with Kolokon. If your first attack dealt damage, which if you're Kolokon, you respond and make your first attack a throw, it's going to hit unless they have like throw hate. And then you drop this and it's going to be a +5, it's going to be 5 mid 5, plus any other buffs you get. And if they're committed, sealed out, this is going to be hitting hard because you got +2 from Kolokon. You also... it's not a stun attack, so you don't get extra from Sub-Zero, but like Garrett Brett 4, gives it 2 extra damage on the committal. But yeah, so it may just only be really a spicy Kolokon card, but I really love this in him, and I really suggest that you guys pick up the Undying starter decks if you haven't, just because there's a lot of good staple-y cards. The characters may not be so hot, but there's a lot of nice cards in those decks that you're able to use even currently in the meta now. So, I want to say thanks for watching. We're going to try to do 3 or 4 of these. I don't know how many we're going to actually get done. But I'm going to try to put one out every couple of weeks or whatever. And then if you guys want to see more of it, let me know in the comments below. I want to say thanks to Jasco Games for sponsoring Rockford CCG. Also, thanks to our Patreon sponsors. We do this because we love it. And, we appreciate you guys taking care of us that way. So we'll see you next time. Take care.